The views expressed and the opinions given by their guests do not necessarily reflect those of the Odyssey Files hosts, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
This is Susan Slaughter from Paranormal Caught on Camera, introducing you to the most epic show ever, The Odyssey Files with David Soyering and Michael O'Neill. You're welcome. Pew, 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 pew.
Oh!
Kim, what are you doing?
Well, I'm telling Mike and Dave, it's time to get on the show.
Oh, well, the Odyssey Files starts now.
And good evening, paranormal community. Welcome to episode 227 of the Odyssey Files. I am your host for all 227 episodes, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Mr. David Soyering. Good evening, Dave.
Good evening, Mike. I've been here for
like 220.
all 200, and yeah, I was going to say there was some time off while I was injured, but I was sick. But for the most part, yeah, I have been here for 220.
We'll just say 220.
We'll say 220. That's about right.
Yeah. And you don't do holiday shows, so.
Well, right. It was hard when you know the kids were younger, and we would like be doing stuff like, of course, every single year Memorial Day is on a Monday, so that you know we would be camping or we'd be gone somewhere for the weekend. So,
camping's terrible.
Now I'm available, but I still choose not to do the shows on Memorial Day.
Now it's a choice.
Now it's a personal choice. So I will not be available on Memorial. I might be, who knows? But I'm hoping not to be. Let's put it that way. I'm hoping that I'm busy doing something extremely fun and not doing the show on Memorial Day. Not that I don't love you and do the show with you. I mean, I love doing the show with you.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, I love doing the show because I have nothing else to do. But let's hope on Memorial Day,
please,
I have something to do.
5 years of our lives, I would think that I would have bailed a long time ago if I had something better to do. So,
but okay, you're just like digging yourself a trench here. That's okay.
I like trenches. I'm okay with trenches. Just step over it.
What if it's too wide?
I don't dig them that deep.
I said wide, not deep.
Well, I don't dig them that big. How about that?
I got you. Okay.
So I got something to say though before we start.
Oh, not again! Because the last time
you're gonna love this. You're gonna love it.
No,
you are absolutely gonna love it. So
that's what you said last week, and it was Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina candle.
Right, and you absolutely loved it. So shut up.
That's true.
Uber Eats. I know we've all seen the commercials lately for Uber Eats, where obviously Uber Eats only delivered food, right? And now they've got this random kind of half-assed silly commercials where Uber Eats delivers, oh, well, Uber Eats delivered it. Can I eat this? And it's a bar of soap or a roll of tape or a diaper or just this stupid shit, right? Just, you know, I laugh not because I like the ads. I laugh because I think that society, like part of me thinks that society would do something like that. Like, oh, it showed up in Uber Eats. Can I eat it? So anyway, just to prove how big Mike and I are as influencers in the airwaves, in the paranormal, as far as just in life in general. What is today? Monday? Saturday. I'm watching some sports on TV and Uber Eats commercial comes on. And guess what was part of the Uber Eats commercial?
Our show?
Gwyneth Paltrow holding her vagina candle, eating it. That's it. We're done. Where's our check? That's all I got to say. How did that from last Monday, from the vagina commercial or candle, conversation to her being on Uber Eats eating her vagina candle. How in the hell is that not 100% of us influencing society? That's all I got to say. I want my check. I want my check, and I want some better studio space.
Did she happen to say what it tasted like?
She did not.
Or
They
smell like, maybe?
Yeah,
they cut her off.
Yeah, they cut her
imagine. Can't imagine why.
As a matter of fact, they didn't even let you see the word vagina, but it was like you could see it had like, she had like a little piece of a napkin over the word vagina. It says, we know what the candle says. This smells like my vagina, but you didn't see the word vagina because it's Uber Eats and they're trying to stay socially correct. But if they're trying to stay socially proper or socially correct or politically correct or whatever the hell you want to term it, then why even have her on there in the first place, right? Which is just asinine. Yep. So once again, I'm patting us on the back that the only reason she was on there is because of our ability as social influencers to cause such an uproar that we were unaware of. I honestly have to say, I was not aware that we were that popular. But I'm taking it all in stride right now. I'm taking it in stride.
I'm still not aware, but that's okay. So there is something that I want to, because I find it interesting, that deals not so much with Uber Eats, but more, well, I mean, it can include Uber Eats, but also like DoorDash and stuff like that. And honestly, with how unbelievably lazy we have gotten as a society.
Yep.
So, as longtime listeners of the show, especially recently, know I have since gone back into the corporate world, not voluntarily, but had to do it. And I am a delivery driver, which means I also pick up. And I have one of my customers is Walgreens and the Walgreens pharmacy. I have literally picked up prescriptions where the home is a mile down the street.
Woo!
I pick it up and then I deliver it the next day. Like, I don't even think I can honestly pick it up and then just go deliver it. I don't think I'm allowed to do that.
So like some sort of holding pattern or something?
No, but I think it has to go through the system in order to be billed properly, that kind of thing. I mean, it's not like I couldn't do it, but I'd probably get in trouble. I have also, in my area, I have this very, very, very nice apartment complex, and it sits kind of right next and half on top of an Aldi. And I have been told that people in the apartment building will literally hire like DoorDash to go into the Aldi to get them a soda and then bring it to their apartment.
The amount of disposable income that's available to the privileged just makes me sick.
That's kind of what it is. I'm just like, if you got the money, I mean, I guess. But yeah, I don't know what the price is. I don't know if it's like $15 for a $2.50 liter of Coke or whatever. I don't know what. Just to not have to go down the elevator and walk 50 yards and talk to people. I don't know, but
I have a friend. I have a friend right now that I used to work with. Just because, I have two.
No.
Well, really? You're a partial friend, and then she's a friend. So
together we equal one.
Yeah, I consider you my friend for 2 hours every Monday.
That's fair.
And then that's fair, right? And then she's a like 3/4 of a friend. So between the two of you, it's a friend. So F you, man. You need me to turn that up for you, or can you hear that? All right. So anyway, she was like, we worked together for, I don't know, 3-4 years when I was there. She was really outgoing and stuff like that, like popular and everything. And I was just talking to her the other day. As a matter of fact, I shared her message with you. And like in the last 4 to 5 months here, she's been like just cooped up in her house. and is afraid of people and doesn't want to go out like anywhere ever. Not even like for a walk or sit out in the yard. So I don't know what the hell's going on, to be honest with you. I don't know if there's some sort of change going on, some sort of cultural change that we're not aware of that's kind of hiding and being sneaky and kind of filtering in. I don't know if it has something to do with social media. I don't have to, maybe it has something to do with subliminal implants. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with COVID. Who knows? You know, but it's weird that you said that you mentioned that, and that I know somebody who's personally experiencing that, who I would never have put her into that category. Like, she was outgoing all the time. That would be like me becoming a recluse and not wanting to ever see anybody or talk to anybody or do anything or whatever. Although I'm a lot more outgoing than she was, but for her standpoint, she was really outgoing.
Right.
Which is strange. I just find it really strange. So like there's something happening that we're not aware of. Maybe. Or maybe it's just her. And maybe it's just a coincidence. But you know how I feel about coincidences. I'm right on board with coincidences like I'm on board with child spirits.
Yeah. Yeah. It whatever.
Doesn't exist.
Uh-huh. Sure.
Prove it. As soon as you can prove it, let me know.
Which one? Child spirits or coincidences?
Either one. I'll let you take your pick. Because they're both a hill. Or like Mount Shasta and Mount McKinley.
Which both exist.
They both exist. They do.
So
you got to get to the peak and show me. Anyway, also shout outs. This is going to be part of our show now. Shout outs. Jim and Jamie for last week. I don't know if they're here this week, but last week, thank you very much for listening. First time listeners. So that was very nice. They were both tuned in for the show last week, so we appreciate that. Mike and I both
absolutely.
do.
Welcome.
Yep. And then Terry and Beth are listening tonight. I just got a message. Beth, I'm reneging your shout out from last week because you were supposed to be listening and you weren't. So that is removed, right? I mean, that's just fair. But you get a shout out tonight because you're listening. So welcome to the show. First time listener. Appreciate it. And then I got a little. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, let it be known we are very rigid in our shout outs.
we are. Right. So we'll renege. We'll pull a shout out back if it's given inappropriately, like I just did. So right.
It's earned. It's not given. That's
right. Earned. Right.
Right.
And so I caught and so for one of our very best friends who I caught grief from last week. Kim, welcome to the show. I know that you listen. I know you're a super fan. I love the fact that you got on my shit last Monday night about not giving you a shout out and giving other people shout outs. So to the lovely, talented, paranormal lady that is Mike and I both consider to be a dear friend, Mrs. Kim Juarez, thank you for listening to the show and listening to Mike and I.
Absolutely. I was wondering if you were talking about her, but yeah. I'm like, why would she give you grief?
Because I gave shout outs last week. Yeah.
It was about the shout out. But Kim, you have to make your presence known. We're investigators. You have to make your presence known. You can't just stand there in the corner.
She was lurking.
And expect. Yeah. You can't lurk. Okay. No. You want to shout out, stop lurking. Right. You got to make your presence known. Dave and I aren't here. We're never going to sit there and be like, if you're here, give me a sign of your presence. You're never going to you're never going to hear us say it. So you got to take the initiative here.
That's right.
So, okay. But
all right.
We do have a great show.
We do. We're moving forward. We're just getting through shout outs, and I had to get in the Uber Eats thing just because we got to get t-shirts now. We're influencers. That's just how it is.
No, we don't. So I'm just saying that now. So anyway, all right. Like I said, great show for you tonight. So we have another batch of stories, which I've kind of somewhat skimmed through, and some of them seem interesting. But and then during the second hour, after stories, we're going to move on to the most haunted prisons So
that you could go visit.
well, you can go
Right.
visit.
That you could
You
go
might-
go do a paranormal event if you want, or you could just do the tour. You know, but they're open to the
Yeah.
public. Is
Right.
the whole point, and they're active.
Yes. Well, I would think that pretty much, except for I have investigated 2 prisons or jails. One, obviously, West Virginia State Penitentiary,
Yep.
which was active.
Very active.
And then, and you were here for this one as well.
Right.
And that was the Butte County Jail,
Which was completely dead.
which was, yeah, see what you did there. But quiet.
It was very quiet. Yeah.
Very, 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 very quiet.
Except for, and I can't remember his name, but the little guy who was the fireman that was on the Dubuque team, and he rushed Steve. Yeah, there you go. He rushed in there by himself, and they had a mannequin set up in one of the jails, and he screamed. When he turned the corner, he screamed because there was a mannequin kind of dark in one of the cells sitting there, and he basically shit his pants, which I found absolutely hilarious because we said to everybody, don't just go running in there. That was part of the whole thing. And he just took off, go running in there, and he got a little payback, which I thought was pure justice at the time. But it was funny.
It was. All right. So starting here, story number 1.
Cats.
I have is it?
Yeah. I love you. There's a cat in there.
There's not. Well, somewhere in here there is, but not in this story.
Oh, never mind. You're right.
Anyway, I have a lurker in my home that will not leave. So here is what this listener writes in.
There's a cat.
So I have some sort of thing that just lurks in my home that I cannot get rid of. At the moment, it's not being malicious. It's just there in the hallway while I type this. What I mean by that, it's not being malicious right now, is there are times to where it tries to either get my attention or my children's attention by increasing the heaviness in a room, moves things, and just creates a sense of hostility. I have sensed or seen or see it in the corner of my eye in either my 2 elder kids' or mine, hubby's baby's room. Oh, and our cats go nuts when this lurker is acting up, hanging out in the hallway outside of the bedrooms, to the point of where one cat will stay by my kids' side and the other with my husband, myself, and the baby taking turns. There are times to where I've woken from a dead sleep, panicking in a sense of dread because it's at the foot of my bed with a cat hissing and puffed up. I have cleansed our home by smudging with lavender, cedar, and juniper. Yes, I leave a window open when doing this. It's almost like she listens to our show.
I agree.
Put eggshells and salt on the floor. Never heard of that before. Holy water to wipe down. Well, salt, sure, but not eggshells. Holy water to wipe down the walls and doorways. Banishing ointment. Don't know what that is.
Tar water, probably.
You know how hard it is to get tar water?
I do, but you can get it. But I'm just saying,
True.
That's like, to me, that's an ointment would be something like tar water. That's what I read into it anyway.
Well,
which is a lot.
Helps.
So if we go back and read all of this, she's got the whole freaking kit going, man.
Well, let me just finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
While that helps some, it's not permanent. I've gone the route of trying to ignore the damn thing, encourage my husband and kids to not acknowledge it, yet it's still there. I do have a theory of where it could have come from, as it was disclosed to me before signing the lease that the previous occupant was a man that used to live here and passed from an overdose. From what the neighbors told me, he was quite troubled, causing mayhem to those around. So he may have attracted something here. Any suggestions on how to get rid of this lurker for good is much appreciated, as I'm at a loss. All right. It must be number 3 that I was thinking this one was. So, okay.
Cats are in this one. That's what I said. I knew I had hooked you up.
They're hardly even in it. All I can really say is that the cat is very territorial and wants to make sure that its souls are yours, or his, I should say. And so that's why he's very protective. Anyways, um, thank you for doing that, by the way. You're a little noisy there, David. So, okay, I think that you are going above and beyond with the whole cleansing. Like, I understand smudging with lavender and cedar and juniper. Uh, yes, I leave the window open when doing this. Okay, but there's more than leaving a window open. Um, I don't know why you put eggshells on the floor. Salt is more of a barrier type thing. It's not, you don't use salt for smudging, at least not that I'm aware of. Holy water to wipe down the walls and doorways. Banishing ointment can't be tar water then, because um, it's talking about how it's not permanent, whereas tar water is supposed to like just put up this humongous barrier that like no spirit period will ever be able to like get in again. Like, boo, they're gone, and they're never coming back. So I don't even know what this banishing ointment that this lady is talking about. Uh, I just wow, I just think you're using like three different smudging techniques all at once, and I'm almost wondering if like you are causing this. Um, I don't understand how you think like it's just there in the hallway while I type this. How do you know this? I'm like, does this person have gifts? Uh, she hasn't really said anything to that effect, but apparently, like she senses it, she sees it out of the corner of her eye. Uh, the fact that she says that it increases the heaviness in a room, moves things, and creates a sense of hostility. That's not malicious. That's just what they do. I mean, if they want to get your attention, then I guess my advice would be see what the F it wants. Uh, your kids and husband do not have to acknowledge it, but maybe you do. I'm just wondering if, like, what's the best way of phrasing this? If you're not taking like what the cats do and shit like that, and psyching yourself out, um, that sort of thing, and you're like in this loop of like, my mind is not working and I can't get the terms. Reinforcement, a self-reinforcement loop. And what else I don't understand about uh this guy you were told passed away from an overdose, but yet he's not the one you think is there. You think he may have attracted something there. So it's not him, it's some other spirit that this guy who overdosed attracted to you, or to this apartment, or this home, or whatever it is you live in. Honestly, I think you just need to relax a little bit. If that's all that is a sense of heaviness and it might move something, and I mean, I guess I don't know what a sense of hostility really means. Uh,
I would say heaviness, how you feel the energy. Well, you don't, but energy shift, energy change, heaviness in a room. Like when you walk in a room, you either feel an overwhelming sense of dread or sadness or being looked or being watched. That, to me, that's what a lurker would do. Create shifts in the energy in the room.
Right. But I mean, that could be high EMF. Maybe
it'd be a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that could be so many. I mean, does it happen when you're doing laundry? And the laundry's going, that sort of thing. is the room above like where the power box is. I mean, there's so many different things that it could be that do that. I mean, not obviously the move objects. I guess I would need more on what exactly it's moving, and why you know or how you know that it's moving things. Like, have you seen it, or are you just finding shit in different places? Uh, so honestly, I think you're making something out of nothing. Um, I would. I mean, she didn't say anything about like actually telling it to leave. Just that she tries to smudge with like three different ways all at once, um, and how that's not permanent. Uh, Obviously. So, um, yeah, that's all I got. That this is just a weird story. There's a lot here that makes no sense. I get the sense. I do get the sense that this person has done way too much research on Reddit or some other place that people will just start throwing shit in there. Like the guy who was talking. I think this was 2 weeks back about the guy who was talking about like some spirit that lurks outside your window and tries to steal your children or something like that.
Yeah, with the blue light
Yeah, the blue
outside the
light.
living room. Yeah,
Or
that
like
was last week. Yeah,
um where did that come
where did that
from?
come from? Right. Yeah.
I I've never, like I said, I've never heard of eggshells being used in the cleansing. I don't know what banishing ointment is. I mean, yeah, obviously I know what tar water is, but I don't think that that's what she's talking about.
Maybe not.
Um, yeah, there's just I honestly think that this lady is probably just freaking the living crap out of herself. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. So I agree with you on the cleansing stuff. You need to stop searching the internet for ways to get rid of a lurker, and then just doing whatever comes up as the first or second type of thing. You need to talk to somebody who actually knows what the hell is going on and somebody who knows what's happening. So once again, bring in a paranormal team, bring in a medium, one of the two. Try and get an idea for what's happening. I thoroughly believe that animals are in tune with the paranormal and that they react to something they can't see. So if the cats are acting protective, which cats are kind of happy-go-lucky, they're usually not going to like run to the baby's side and get really protective about it. But in this case, it seems that they're kind of doing that. So I myself, I would use that as a sign that something's not right. Okay, so all of that said, a lot of the stuff that she's doing is she's trying to cleanse away an evil entity. Salt on the floor is, if you're creating a salt circle because there's a demon there and you're going to stay inside the circle for protection. But, so I got to imagine she's probably salting all of the thresholds is what my guess would be. And overuse of holy water, by the way. Don't stop using holy water, and don't wash your house in holy water. It's not what it's intended for. But I think that she's totally off base on the fact that she thinks that the guy who overdosed, that was the former occupant, brought something in because he caused trouble and mayhem to those around him. I don't get where she's not seeing that the spirit that's probably there is the guy who overdosed as the previous occupant. That's what I think is happening here. He's confused. He overdosed, which means he died, doesn't know he's dead. He doesn't like the fact that you're in a space. He might be trying to be intimidating to get you to leave because he doesn't know what else to do. My advice to you would be either you could go one or two routes here. Bring in a medium or a paranormal team and find out what's happening for sure. Or find out who the previous occupant was, get his name, address him personally, and tell him what happened to him and ask him to move on. And tell him that there's no reason for him to be sticking around anymore because he's interfering with your life now in this space, and his life in this space has expired. That's what I would do. You know, I would try to address I personally, I would address him first before I would call anybody and bring him in. If that didn't work or activity got worse, then I would bring in somebody, a paranormal team, or somebody that's a friend of mine. I happen to know a lot of mediums because I've been in this field for a long time. So, and mediums that I trust. So I would bring in a medium and say, look, this is what's happening. I tried to make peace. He doesn't want to make peace. He's just angry. Can you help me talk to him, you know, and let's help him move on, because he needs to move on so we can have our space now. You know, this is our space, not his space.
Yep.
So that's all I got. Okay. Sleep paralysis question. Love this one. I once managed to do a successful and deliberate out-of-body experience. But when I tried to repeat it, I got an image of being captured in the web of a giant spider. I swear I was awake, but I couldn't move and couldn't open my mouth to scream. The spider started rolling me up in silk, and I knew if it covered me completely, I would die. I was apparently making noises because a family member came to check on me and brought me out of the paralysis by shaking me. Would this be considered sleep paralysis or something entirely different? Something entirely different. It's not sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is the inability to move. You know, we all have our different viewpoints on what percentage of it is medical and what percentage of it is paranormal. We've already had this conversation numerous times, so we won't have it again tonight because that'll just burn too much time, and we got a lot more good questions to get through. But the whole thing with the spider, I'm going to say that you were out of astral projecting or out of body projecting again, and this spider happened to be something that was in a realm and that you went to, and it's not safe. So I'm going to say this: it's not safe to travel astral projecting if you don't know what the hell you're doing, because you're going to different planes of consciousness, and sometimes it's hard to control where you're going once you get kind of shot out of the cannon and you're traveling. Sometimes you can overreach your destination. I know that from personal experience. And I could bring my friend Peter on we could have a whole show on that journey. But I think that what happened is you ended up someplace that you shouldn't have been. And maybe there is a realm where there's a whole bunch of giant spiders and you're the fly. And you ended up showing up someplace where you got caught. And it's probably good that you did have a family member check on you and they heard you screaming. Because the only way that they would bring you out of sleep, and this is why, again, I don't think it's sleep paralysis. I've experienced sleep paralysis. We did a show on sleep paralysis. We went into depth on sleep paralysis. If you didn't see it, go back about 6 weeks. Right, 5-6 weeks, something like that. It's a good show, pretty in depth. But when you're in sleep paralysis, you don't have the ability to move or to scream or to yell. So there's no way that somebody in the family would have come to check on you because they wouldn't have known that you were in that moment. So that's why I don't think it's sleep paralysis. I think it was something else. And I think what happened is you were astral projecting unbeknownst to yourself. And like I said, you ended up someplace you shouldn't have been. Someplace a little dangerous. Maybe it was your mind that concocted the spider. I don't know. But I don't think it was sleep paralysis. I think it was something else happening.
I don't think it was sleep paralysis either. I think they watched Lord of the Rings and had a dream. Because like everything that they just talked about was what happened to Frodo at the top of the mountain with the spider, like putting them and
or The
stuff
Fly,
like that.
right? The original movie, The Fly, back in the 50s.
I don't know if I've ever seen it.
Oh,
But yeah, I mean that as you're reading about the spider rolling me up in silk and covering me, that's the only thing that popped in my head was that you were recreating you're putting yourself in the role of Frodo, and you were getting rolled in spider silt. But I do think you were dreaming. I mean, obviously,
Could have been a hell of a dream. Yeah.
I mean, you do say I couldn't move and couldn't open my mouth to scream, and then you said I was apparently making noises.
Right.
So I think the whole ability to not move and scream was part of your dream. You know, I many times have suddenly woken up and not even knew that I fell asleep. You know, until whatever dream I was having was done, or woke myself up, or whatever, and I'm like, whoa, what was that? I'm like, whoops, I fell back asleep for the last 20 minutes.
Right.
So yeah, I don't believe that this is sleep paralysis either. I just think that you were having a dream. I mean, I honestly would like to know what your like what the deliberate out of body experience, like how do you know that you were deliberately out of your body, or were you just dreaming there too?
Well,
I mean,
yeah, for astral projecting, like, when you have the ability to astral project, you know that you have the ability to astral project. Like, I can astral project. So it's just, you feel the separation between your physical self laying in bed and your spiritual self or energy self, however you want to refer to it, being able to move forward and go someplace else while your physical being is still laying in bed. I can't, there's really not like a word for it. Sometimes you can look back and see yourself kind of like a near-death experience would be, is like the thing I can imagine it would feel like. I've never had an NDE, but that's what it would, like, from what I've read thousands of, well, maybe not thousands, definitely hundreds of stories of near-death experiences. And I know people that have had near-death experiences, and they've told me their stories face to face. So they all describe kind of that in a similar fashion, not exactly the same, but similar. So when I astral project, I know that I'm leaving. It's just a way there's a disconnect. That's the best way I can describe it. It's like you unplug, kind of like you have the ability to unplug yourself from your body and move freely, right? And quickly. Because I know I can't run as fast as I can astral project. I guarantee you that. Like, I can be and be someplace that I want to be, or choose to be, or try to explore or whatever. So.
Gotcha. All right. I was just saying, I would like to know, what a deliberate out of body experience is like, and how would you know? So, but
you will, if you try to have one and you have one, you'll know.
Yeah, I don't feel any need to have one, but that's okay.
Just telling you would know.
I understand. Yeah. That's really all I have. I think that you were having a dream, and for the spider,
right.
not maybe so much, for the out of body experience, but
right.
The spider, I think this person was just dreaming, and yeah, so
Nightmare.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, getting wrapped up in a giant spider web would be a nightmare, in my opinion. But
I understand. Well, except for the one person that who wrote that would just be
entertainment value. Yeah,
that would just be entertainment. Entertainment horror movie.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Blonde female in my apartment. What can I do? I just moved into a new apartment about a month ago, and my roommate has been living in the apartment for a few months before I moved in. I took over part of a lease for a friend who had to move out for work as I was moving to the city for my own career. Since moving in, I've cleansed the apartment, mainly keeping my room cleansed as my roommate isn't as open to my practice as I would like. Since moving in, I keep seeing a blonde-haired woman in the common area. The spirit doesn't seem negative, but I've kept my guard up and done my protection sigils on the door to my room. This spirit also seems to only come around when my roommate is gone and has shown itself to me at least every other day, if not every day. I have said numerous times about my boundaries, saying things like I have in the past with things like this happened, like this is my space. If you do not respect it, please leave. I don't mean harm. I'm just trying to do insert task here. I'm not open for communication at this time. Please leave me alone, etc. This seems to work as the spirit seems to back off and leave me alone. But as I've been at the apartment for a few days in a row without going to work, which is a long story, not relevant to this situation, the spirit seems to be around more and it's making me feel uneasy. I don't quite know what to do and want some outside opinions, advice on what else I could do to get this spirit to leave me alone. I haven't talked to my roommate about it as to not bring up any drama or stress between us. We get along well enough, just don't bring up things like this because our different religious views, as that's the only real thing we clash on. I don't have any pictures of the spirit, as I get an uneasy feeling as well when I think about getting a photo of them. I can describe what the spirit looks like, though, as I have seen them on multiple occasions just standing around. The spirit looks female, long blonde hair, about to mid back or the ribs area lengthwise, pale and fair skin, and I've seen them wearing a white top and ripped blue jeans and blue shorts. Thank you in advance for any advice. I guess if you told it to leave, honestly, just been like, you need to leave. I mean, obviously, you're like, if you're not going to respect my space, you need to leave. But honestly, it looks like it's respecting your space. Mm-hmm. Like anytime you're like, I'm not open for communication, or I don't come in here, they back off. I don't know what else you want the spirit to do besides obviously leave. So I mean, I guess obviously you have gifts. Because nobody without gifts says I'm not open for communication right now.
Right.
Like that, like that's a medium
right.
Line right there. You're always going to attract spirits. Always, if you have these gifts. Now, obviously, this one in particular, either one just likes you and wants to be around you, or two is really waiting for you to, I guess, see what it wants. I mean, I guess my question to the writer of this is, have you tried to communicate? Have you tried to figure out if it wants help? Has it tried to figure out why it's there? As opposed to just, it's there. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I would go, I think that's what's happening. Because they're so emphatic on how they're writing, I'm not open for communication right now. This is my in my space. If you can't, respect that, please leave. I don't think there's been any type of open communication attempted at all. I think it's always just been the hand in the face, back up. I don't want you here, blah, 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 which I don't know. I can think of a hell of a lot scarier looking spirits than a tall blonde in a ripped jeans and a white shirt with long blonde hair. I would think that would be the easier of the two spirits that I could conjure up in my own mind of what it could look like. Shit I've seen. So yeah, I would take the blonde with the long hair and the ripped jeans and the white shirt and be like, hi, what can we do to help you? Obviously you need some help. You need something. Did you used to live here? And open up a line of communication.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big thing right there. I mean, if she's showing herself to, I'm going to assume it's a him.
Yeah, I think so.
If she's showing herself to him almost every day, if not every other day, she is really trying to get your attention.
Right.
And she's trying to respect what you say. Okay, he's not open for communication today. I will wait till tomorrow.
Right.
And honestly, you can't ask for better cooperation than that. I mean,
from the spiritual side, that's like 100% respect. I agree with you. Like that doesn't get any more respectful for a spirit than that. And like we've also talked about, time is a man-made construct. We talked about that many, 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 many times. So what might be a day for it might be 5 years for her, right? Who knows? Right. And then she comes back and she's like, hey, I'd like to, hey, hi, I think you can help me. I'm confused. Back up, man. I just see this like wall being constantly built out of fear is what I think it is. So
Yeah, I
agree. Give her a hug. Help her.
I mean,
find out what the hell she needs help, obviously.
And the basic just fact of what she's wearing, she's obviously more recent.
Yeah, I would think so. Right.
She's not,
right.
Yeah, I mean, she's not a 1920 spirit who doesn't understand technology, that kind of thing.
No, not at all.
So, I mean, honestly, you like this is the easiest you could possibly get in order to I honestly wish I could have cases where it's like, yeah, she's listening to everything that I say. She's respecting me.
Right.
I want her gone. I'd be like, why? What's the problem?
Right.
I'm like,
she's
sure,
I'll come. Not here to hurt you. She just needs help moving forward, obviously. She's confused about something.
I mean, either that or she just really likes him and I don't know why, but
or it's going to be more ghost sex.
Why not? Put the sock on the door so your roommate knows what's going on and see what kind of help she needs.
Right. There you go.
But yeah, that's my advice. Stop being a douche to her and just see what she wants. And that's it. See what she wants. Help her.
I agree. 100%. It's exactly what my advice would be. Stop pushing her away. Give her a hug. That's what she's looking for. And ask her what happened to her and, ask her what happened and what, why she's there. And obviously move forward intelligently from that point. So, okay. Number 4, I have a ghost. I think. I believe there is a ghost in my house. I don't know what type because I don't know a lot about ghosts, but I want to get a spirit box or an EMF to see if it's my imagination or an actual ghost. I've heard footsteps, and whenever I went up a certain flight of stairs, I feel super uneasy, like something was behind me, so I had to run. This morning, I couldn't get to sleep, so I went to my craft room to grab some supplies, and I was feeling super uneasy, and I thought I saw a person standing in the middle of the room before I turned the light on. When I turned the light off, I got that get out of here fast feeling. Another time, I had slept fairly well and woke up around 5:30. I'm assuming that's a.m. And started getting ready when my door opened. I thought it was weird, so I stood up to close it. But as soon as I reached towards it, it was closed. Is this a ghost or am I just crazy? What should I do to make sure it is or isn't a ghost? And how can I get rid of it? Okay. So once again, we're immediately going to get rid of it, banishment, without finding out why they're there or what they need or if they need help. So again, I'm not going to beat a dead dog here. It's just, find out what the spirit needs. I know it can be scary. They're not there to hurt you. If they were there to hurt you, the first thing they would do would be to hurt you. They don't come in and be your best friend and spend a year with you and then hurt you. If they're going to come in and hurt you, a spirit's going to come in and be aggressive and come and try to do something malicious. They're going to come in and they're going to do that right from the start. It's going to be a very physical, domineering type of presence, whether it's male, female, it doesn't matter. My advice to you would be not to investigate your own home. That's been my advice for better part of 30 years. Don't investigate your own home. You're opening up a Pandora's box if you do. And I think it's just really bad. I think it's It's just not an intelligent move. Get somebody in who can investigate if you really think you do have a ghost. Do not go out and buy an EMF or a spirit box when you know absolutely nothing about spirits. Don't use a Ouija board. Don't have your 15-year-old friend who's into black magic or Satanism show up telling you they could do some sort of ritual that'll conjure up a spirit that's in the house, and so that you can see what they look like. Don't do that. That would be bad. So I think that the uneasiness here this is what I feel. The uneasiness here, I think I saw somebody standing in the room and I turned the light off and I got that. I need to get out of here real fast. I don't think that's the spirit. I think that's you freaking out to something potentially being there. So once you're able to take a deep breath and calm down, next time you see the spirit, I would ask them what they want. And I would say to them, look, you've showed up recently. I'm kind of guess it's recently. You've showed up recently. I'm not sure why you're here. Maybe it's because of me, or maybe it's because of the property. But this is my space now. We've had this conversation. We've talked about this many, many times. So I want to drag it out even more. But this is my space now. Can you, if you're going to coexist, fantastic. If you're not, can you please leave, because you're scaring the hell out of me. Even if you're not trying to, you're scaring the hell out of me. I don't like it. Can you please move on and see what happens? And then take it from there. It's all a series of steps. There's nothing in the paranormal. There is no cut and dry in the paranormal ever. So, it's always a series of steps that leads you to something else. And if the spirit's visiting you or visiting the property, there's a reason why. That's all I got.
Yep. So I'm going to quickly talk in general about a couple things that this person wrote in. Obviously, I wanted to get a spirit box or EMF to see if it's my imagination or an actual ghost. So neither one of those two pieces of equipment are going to help you determine either of those things. One, a spirit box is so easy to misinterpret. It's not only that, but it's not confined to your home. You can have spirits from Cleveland talk to you through your spirit box. So it's not going to actually confirm anything, except that you're hearing noises that you will then matrix to be answers.
Or to freak the shit out of you even more, which it does to a lot of people.
With that too.
Right.
EMF is just energy. You're going to get spikes no matter where you are, really. And honestly, I'm close to saying that this is an EMF problem anyways, because everything seems to be a feeling. And, when she's walking up the stairs, and I think she even said in the same spot.
Yeah.
When I went up to a certain flight of stairs.
Yeah.
Like it's the same spot, I guess that way you could use an EMF meter to see if there are
readings.
Spike. Yeah. If there are spikes. So I would definitely go with an EMF over a damn spirit box. But I mean, a lot of this seems to be a feeling, which can be EMF. And then, as you said, Dave, you're freaking yourself out.
Right.
I don't know how you, I can't gauge this person's knowledge of the paranormal, because they know what a spirit box is. They know that an EMF meter can be used. But then they say, I don't know what type of ghost it is. Well, there's really, there's the spirit. Then I guess there's demonic, and then there's poltergeist. I mean, if that's what you're talking about, But I mean, I would just think that if you knew about the equipment, that you would probably know about, I guess, type of spirits.
I think that's probably a perfect example of watching some paranormal shows on TV and seeing them use something, but not really understanding what it is or what it does. And then just using the term because you saw it on a television program. So it makes you sound like you know what you're doing. I would say this person has absolutely no idea how a K2 works or what a spirit box's purpose really is. That's what I feel. I feel like they're just using the terms because they saw it on Ghost Adventures or Taps or whatever, Kindred Spirit, whatever show they happen to watch, and they saw him use this piece of equipment. And they're like, oh, this is, I need to get one of these, type of thing.
Yeah. I saw Amy and Adam use a spirit box, and they determined there was a spirit in the house.
Right, and got their name and what they wanted, why they were there. Maybe I should do that. Right. No, you shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't. But yeah, so that's all I really have. I just think that you're probably doing most of this to yourself, and you might actually you're not crazy, but I don't even know if you actually have a spirit in your house. So, because I mean, obviously, if it's EMF that's causing all of this, that's natural. That's not a spirit doing it. So, yeah. All right, that's all I got. You good?
I'm good. Yeah, no, I'm good. Yep.
All right. Should I start to worry about the activity in my room? Probably. I've had a poltergeist in my room for a while now. Probably don't have a poltergeist.
Come on now, don't ruin the question.
Anyway, I can't remember when it started, but it goes through quiet periods and active periods. Knocking stuff over, throwing things, knocking on my window and my cabinet, turning on my password-protected computer and playing random YouTube videos. Phantom wind on my vines.
I'm guessing like some decoration in the bedroom.
Maybe
would be my guess.
Disappear, etc. Lots of shit. Yesterday, I was trying to put in a hairpin, and I felt it get yanked out of my hand and land behind my back. Today, though, it shoved my pet rat forward like 10 inches. This is very concerning. Can a poltergeist hurt your pets? Can I get rid of it? I'm so worried now. Okay, so I just want to let everybody know that my headphone battery is low. So if I suddenly can't hear anything, that would be why. So anyway, we'll go until I guess I can't hear. So a poltergeist, and this is the wrong, I guess I'm going to say that this is the wrong definition of it. So poltergeist is a PK manifestation that is caused by a human being. Now, can this person have caused a poltergeist? Yes, absolutely it can. It also could be why it's coming and going. If there's times of stress, then this person is putting out a lot of energy, and you're going to have poltergeist activity. Whereas once that blows over, or you have a better stuff going on in your life, it will subside. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that it is an actual poltergeist that is doing these things. Can poltergeist hurt your pets? Yes, they can also hurt you, because that is the energy that you are giving it. If you are feeling very aggressive, whether it's towards another human being or whatever, and that's the energy that you are putting out into this poltergeist, it's going to attack whatever it can, including you. Especially if you're angry at yourself for something, it's going to be angry at you, because that's the energy that you are putting out. Angry at me. So can you get rid of it? Absolutely. You have to calm down. I've seen Amy Allen many, 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 many times suggest yoga. Talk to a friend. Talk to a counselor.
Right.
Go get therapy. Whatever is causing your emotions to run wild, you need to work that out. And over time, if you don't feed it your energy, it will dissipate. It will go away. And yeah, that's my advice. Honestly, I think it probably, just from reading it, it probably is a poltergeist, but it's caused by you, and you just need to settle down.
I would agree with you on part of that. I definitely think that with all of the claims that it's obviously sounds like a poltergeist as well to me. Not knowing the situation and the living situation, I can't say that it's the person who's experiencing it, because it could be a sibling who's angry with you for some reason, like what brother or sister, whatever, that is mad. You don't get along at all. You're constantly clashing. And that person potentially could be the creator of this poltergeist activity. And it's focused on you, which is why it's in your room, knocking on things, throwing things, knocking stuff over, banging on your window and your cabinet, turning on your computer, phantom winds on decorations in your room, making things disappear, and potentially hurting your pet, which that's not cool at all. No matter what your pet is, that's not cool at all. So, I agree. I think it probably is poltergeist activity. I think that it might be somebody else in the house that's causing it, though, and this person is the victim of that energy attack. And if that is the case, the only way that that's going to stop is to make a peace with the person who's the proprietor of the poltergeist. In reality, you need to calm things down with your siblings.
So I would say the only reason that I don't think that it's somebody else is because it seems to be happening only in her room.
Which would be the reason I think it's a target.
I don't know if you
I think that person's being targeted.
I don't know if you can target a poltergeist, though.
I think you can. I think you can attach a poltergeist to one person and have it be kind of disruptive in their life. I don't think a poltergeist necessarily just spreads mayhem arbitrarily wherever the hell it happens to be. I think there's opportunity for it to be specifically interested in one person. That's a good topic for a show, though. I'm just saying, right? It's a good topic because we don't agree on it. So, I mean, that's a great topic for the show.
Yeah, I don't agree
to do
with
a poltergeist show and try and get some people who are, well versed in poltergeist activity and see if it's just random shit that happens or if it could be target specific. I think in this case it might be target specific.
Poltergeist, I think, can be target specific, but they can't be targeted. As in, like, if I were to create a poltergeist, I could not make it target you.
Why?
Because it's a subconscious thing.
Right, but it's created from it would be created by you. So if you were angry at me for whatever reason, if you were mad at me, you didn't like me, why couldn't you focus your negative thoughts would be focused on me? And if your negative thoughts created the poltergeist, that's what gave it its energy, then it makes total sense that it would be focused on me. It wouldn't be focused on you. Right? Why would your poltergeist hurt you if you were mad at me? That doesn't make any sense. It would focus on me.
It would have to be a very, very prolonged and intense anger and hatred in order to create an actual poltergeist.
Right. I think
enough
so. I
to
agree.
go after you.
Right. I would agree with that.
I mean, plus I think you would have to be like where you are now. Like, you would have to be in my home. Like, I don't think you could live on the other side of a city.
No.
And a poltergeist would go and get you.
No, which is why I said it's somebody in the house that could be a sibling.
Yeah, I still don't think that that's the case. But that's just me.
That's fine.
But
That's my opinion. I'm sticking with it.
right. So,
That's my opinion. I'm sticking with it.
right. So, do we want to do number 6?
It's weird. If you, I picked it because it's weird. You know,
Well,
if you want to do, it's weird and it's
and
ritualistic to me. Or do you want to take a break, take a pee break, and
we're
move
going to go to
on?
break.
Okay, let's go to break.
I no longer have my headphones.
Okay, let's do a pee break.
We're going to go to a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll either do number 6 or we'll move on to our topic for tonight. So we'll be back here in about a minute and a half. See you guys then.
Hey, this is Grant Wilson from Ghost Hunters, and if you ever have time that you never want to get back, spend it listening to Mike and Dave on the Odyssey Files.
Hey, everybody, it's Chad Lindbergh, and you are listening to the Odyssey Files with David and Michael. And let me tell you, it's almost as painful as a Skype glitch.
Hi, I'm Chuck Zukowski from UFOnut.com and Alien Highway. I thought I was the only UFO nut until I met Mike and Dave with the Odyssey Files. They're a lot crazier than I am.
Hello, I'm Al Lagarde from Paper Route Productions, executive producer, Kindred Spirits, Paranormal State, a whole bunch of television shows. And I've worked with a lot of people on paranormal projects and met a lot of people in paranormal radio. And I want to say that Dave and Mike are two people who have a face for radio, in particular, internet radio.
Hey, it's Chris Fleming. More painful than a Tyrannosaurus Rex stepping on your testicle. Listen to Dave and Mike on Odyssey Files.
This is Elizabeth Saint. You know, in my journeys, I've confronted an over 1,000-year-old demon from the depths of Shepherdstown. But then, you know what happened? I came across Mike and Dave. And hot damn, nothing could have prepared me for the Odyssey Files. My second favorite radio show. I love you guys.
And we're back. And hold on one. Okay. I don't know if we're back or not.
We're back.
Hold on a second. Terribleness. So I'm having headphone issues, which means, hold on a second. Dave, why don't you go ahead and do number 6, since that takes some time.
Yep, not a problem. So, all right, number 6 question today. Weird hypnagogic experience / magic bottle. So you don't hear the term hypnagogic a lot. So I'm going to explain that term before we move on with the actual question. So we did this when we talked about sleep paralysis, like I said, 5-6 weeks ago. So hypnagogia is the experience. It's the transitional state from wakefulness to sleep. Okay. So it's basically right when you're getting relaxed, very comfortable, you're starting to fall asleep and you're getting into that comfort. Like I can feel when I'm going to fall asleep, and I know damn good and well when I'm not going to fall asleep, regardless of how comfortable I am. And I think everybody has that ability. It's also the time as you're entering your hypnagogic state when things can happen. Like you're not quite into REM sleep. You're in this little in-between phase for a little bit of time. You know, you haven't gone into your deep REM. And so you're potentially, what's happening is that you're alert to your current surroundings and you're also in this transitional sleep state. So you're entering your subconscious mind at the same time that you're also aware of your surroundings, which creates this really weird, potentially weird moment, this short moment of time. But some of the things that can happen during that phase, they call it threshold consciousness, is lucid thoughts and dreams, hallucinations, sleep paralysis, things like that. That's where the medical field thinks that sleep paralysis happens all the time. They don't take into account the fact that sleep paralysis happens while people are sound asleep, and then they wake up. But we won't get into that because we already did that conversation. So I'm going to read the question. So I took a bottle and I filled it up to the brim with a bunch of sun-charged papers, which had things that I had written on them, such as fear me, tasty fear, creepy things will happen around this bottle, etc. I don't know why you would do that, but okay. After writing all of this, I put the papers up in the window for a minute or two so that the sunlight could charge them. And then I stuffed the papers inside of the bottle. I let the bottle sit for a while, and then I came back and put my hands around the bottle, and I imagined a bright white light going into the bottle. Then I tapped it with a pencil 3 times. Later that night, I put the bottle on my desk in my bedroom, and I went to sleep. I then woke up 2 times to a loud, and I mean a very loud, slamming sound coming from my desk. But every time I looked up at the desk, nothing seemed to be any different. Did I accidentally create a residual haunting? I would also like to put out there that I have never experienced anything like this in my entire life until now. I don't know why people do this. I guess curiosity. I guess I get it. I get that aspect of it. The fact that you're tapping on the bottle 3 times with a pencil, the fact that you're trying to envision bright white light going into the bottle, the fact that you're writing shit like fear me, tasty fear, creepy things will happen around this bottle on pieces of paper, and then you're trying to charge them with light. It sounds to me like you're off. It sounds to me like what's happening here is that there's something ritual. There's something you read that is ritualistic, or something you were told that is ritualistic as some sort of conjuring or invocation. And if you do this, this is what will happen. And somewhere in the middle here, you screwed it up. Because if you're looking for bright white light to go into the bottle, bright white light is the love of God. So if you're writing shit like fear me, tasty fear, creepy things are going to happen in on a paper and then shove it in a bottle, to me, that's kind of going down a little bit darker route, right? Like you're trying to do something like, why would you write fear me, tasty fear? I don't get it. But if that's what you're doing, you're probably going more towards a conjuring or invocation. Then you sit back and you grab the bottle and you invite this bright white light, which is nothing that's negative or malicious or evil, carries the bright white light. The bright white light is the love of God. So you're carrying the bright white light and bringing it into the bottle, thereby nullifying everything that you were trying to do with your words that you wrote on the paper. The fact that you heard 3 loud bangs or a couple loud bangs coming from your desk, did you accidentally create a residual haunting? No, you did not create a residual haunting, because obviously you have no idea what the term residual haunting means, because you don't create a residual haunting. You don't have the ability to create a residual haunting unless you are the residual haunt. So no, you did not create a residual haunt. What you're doing is you're dancing with something that could be potentially very dangerous. And my advice to you would be, whoever is filling your head with this type of information, I'm assuming that you're young here. I'm just getting the feeling this is a teenage type age person. My advice to you would be to find something else to focus your energy on, and don't go down this path. Otherwise, I've said it a million times, you're going to get what you want. And when you get what you want, you're not going to be happy. It's not going to be what you want. And it's going to end up causing chaos in your life and fear and things that you don't want in your life. And I don't wish that on anybody. So my advice, don't continue to play around.
Yeah. So that was very diplomatic.
Thank you. I tried to be the diplomatic
Right.
partner in the team. Yes, exactly. Professionalism.
So it was good cop, bad cop kind of thing. So you're the good cop.
Right.
I think this guy's a moron. And I'm going to take the advice that I gave the person last week and apply it to this person. I think he should spend his time eating Tide Pods. Because this person obviously doesn't have the slightest clue what they are doing, or how to do it, or what the results are going to be, or anything. I mean, it as you said, it really sounds like he read it on the internet, and somebody posted on probably Reddit this great ritual or this great thing that they could do, and this great stuff happened, and blah 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 when they did it, and like monkey see, monkey do, thought I should go ahead and do that. I mean, as you read this, and you said it, you put all this like negative type stuff like fear me and tasty fear. What the fuck does tasty fear even mean?
I don't know. Like at all. I have absolutely no clue what that means.
Right.
So,
but then you took white light and sunlight and focused it on there. And that's exactly what I thought, is they just like canceled each other out. So you have a bottle of paper is what you have with a bunch of dumbass things written on it. What sense does tapping it 3 times with a pencil?
it sounds ritualistic to me.
Right. That was supposed to symbolize something.
Something.
I have no idea what. Because
maybe the Antichrist, right? Tapping 3 times, 3 knocks. Could be something related to the Antichrist, to the death of Christ. And, I'm not going there. I'm not saying that's what it is, but that could be a plausible answer.
Right. So I'm obviously 100% with you on the whole. Did I cause a residual haunting? No. You don't have the slightest clue what a residual haunting is, good sir.
No.
What those knocks were, I don't know, and I don't care. I mean, I know I should care. That's the whole point of being a paranormal investigator. You care.
Right.
But this is one of those people where we would charge.
Like I said 2 weeks ago or whatever, right? The stupidity fee. Yeah.
The stupidity fee.
Yeah.
Because they did this to themselves.
Yeah.
Not knowing what the hell they were doing.
Agreed. Yes.
So, I don't care about this person. I mean, in 2 loud knocks, if that's all that happened, which I'm pretty sure that is probably all that happened, I would count yourself lucky. I would move on to Tide Pods and never go back to writing idiotic things and putting them in a jar and tapping them with a pencil. So, yeah, that's my advice for that one. Good cop, bad cop. So while I try to get my headphones working again, now that I've charged them for like 5 minutes.
It doesn't have battery backup on yours, or is it it's built-in charger?
Built-in charger.
Built-in charger.
Gotta plug it in.
Gotcha.
But they're actually really, really quick to charge. So why don't you go ahead and introduce our topic for tonight? And
Absolutely.
I will do this.
You bet. So tonight we are going to focus on haunted prisons and jails in America. I got to be honest, if I don't have a case where I can help a family, like a case, a lot of my cases involve kids. A lot of my cases have involved kids and families, situations. If I don't have that, and if I'm going to go someplace where I feel really comfortable in the fact that I'm going to have a paranormal experience, honestly, for me, it seems like I have a paranormal experience just about any place I go. But that said, the two places that I really like would be cemeteries, because there's just this beautiful calmness there. And for some reason, my energy melds really well with cemeteries. Like, I have great personal experiences in cemeteries and great documented experiences too. It's not just personal, it's great documented experiences. But like, I love going to cemeteries, and I love older cemeteries. The second thing would be jails. And that's where we're headed tonight. So I think we've done cemeteries before. We're doing jails tonight, jails and prisons. There are some absolutely phenomenally haunted prisons and jails that you can go to that are still open. You can go visit. Some of them are not open to paranormal teams anymore, and we'll mention that as we're going on through our show tonight. But they are open to tours, and they're usually inexpensive. I mean, like, if I have data, which I do, I found a couple different websites that actually are updated that have data. I will throw that in there, like how much it costs to go, just in case you want to go. But it's, $20, $10, $25 to do like a 2-hour tour. And I'm telling you what, as a paying customer, and this wasn't the case when we went to West Virginia. We were actually there as a paranormal team and rented the whole prison for the weekend. But I would have paid, they do tours, and to hear Ryan, to go with Ryan on a 90-minute tour to walk through West Virginia State Penitentiary, and if that cost me $20, $25 to go do that, I think that is money well worth spent, because he is, for West Virginia, he is a walking encyclopedia of knowledge. And even if you're not there for a ghost hunt or, a paranormal investigation, even if you're just there because you're like intrigued by what happened there as a history buff, he was phenomenal. And Ryan, I know we're kind of like friends through the paranormal. We don't make any money off of anything, but I'm telling you what, if you get an opportunity to do a tour with him, I would not miss that opportunity. I think that highly of him. And he's that good at that location that he is very, very knowledgeable about. So,
100% agree.
Yeah. And phenomenal guy too. Very, very nice guy. Very likable guy.
Yeah. I mean, he was a guest on our show.
He was.
For 2 hours. I mean,
he was. And they have their first this fall, I believe in August, which I laughed when I saw that, because that's when we went and it was hotter than shit. And I almost passed out upstairs in the upper medical wing. But they're having their first annual paranormal conference there in August.
Nice.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool too. So, I mean, we'll talk more about that and help promote that event as we move forward and stuff. It's already the beginning of May, but maybe we'll have him back on. It's been a while since we had him on. I'd like to talk to him again, let him come on and promote the event. I really like that prison. So
I just want to say that since you mentioned the medical floor there, that was the only place that I've ever been to yet, I'm sure it'll happen again, where the human beings, the living people in the room, were the cold colors on the FLIR.
Yeah. It was effing hot.
The room in the air was hotter than us as human beings.
Yeah, it was hot.
It was hot.
It was hot and stagnant. And I can't do stagnant because my whole life is about fans. And not fans that pat me on the back, fans that blow on me, like to keep just some little bit of airflow. So yeah,
my whole life is based on popularity.
Yeah, that's if you know me in any way, shape, or form, that's totally, absolutely not true. But yeah, it was smoking hot up there, stagnant as hell, humidity. I was up there 10 minutes, and I actually looked at him, and he was doing the turn. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna pass out or black out. I was sweating like a pig. I'm like, and I don't sweat that bad usually. I'm like, I got to get the hell out of here. And I did. I went down the back stairs. It was brutally hot. Yeah.
That you went outside, like you went down the stairs
Yep.
to an open door,
Yep.
and it felt like air conditioning.
Yep. And it
Even
wasn't
though
because it was still
even
hot outside.
oh god, even though it was like 85 degrees, you're like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, with like 95% humidity. And it was this hot breeze hitting you. It still felt amazing compared to what it felt like up in that medical wing. I was like, oh God, thank you. Oh, this is so nice.
It really was.
Yeah.
So I think let's start with one of the places that obviously got very, very popular due to taps and ghost hunters.
Sure.
And is now closed to paranormal investigation, and that is Eastern State Penitentiary.
There you go.
I really wanted to do an event there. In fact, it was going to be amazing because Eastern State is like literally like a 15-minute drive or something like that from Fort Mifflin.
Mm-hmm.
They're both in the Philadelphia area, and I mean, what a great weekend, that could be to have Fort Mifflin and Eastern State Penitentiary as locations to go. So I contacted them about it, and they informed me that they want to focus on the history
right.
Of the prison as opposed to its paranormal, claims and stuff like that. I hope they change their mind at some point in time. But that is one place.
I bet they will. Because I bet that there's more money to be made with paranormal investigations at $1,500 a night, let's say, versus $15 tours for a museum. I just don't see it. I think there's more money to be made to keep the property alive and to do the maintenance to the property. I got to say too, and I'm just jumping in here real quick. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but if you go take a look at the property, they have the most phenomenal gargoyles of any property I've ever seen. They are absolutely 100% rip your face off, going to come alive. Gargoyle, like, they're amazing. So if anybody hasn't seen them, go look up Eastern State Penitentiary and look through some of the images and you'll see them.
Yeah. This prison was opened in 1829.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for it to still be,
just standing is amazing, honestly.
Well, yeah, standing, able to pretty much hold its own.
Right. Well, you still have people going in there, right? So it's not like it's dilapidated and falling apart and bricks falling from the ceiling type of thing.
Yeah, it was kind of intended to set the standard for penal reform. It had a Quaker-informed belief in the healing effect of solitude. What? That doesn't even make sense, but whatever. It means like the prisoners were meant to not interact with each other.
Right.
And there was even a ban on talking for both guards and inmates.
Right.
And they had like punishments that were like ice baths, and they had something called a mad chair that cut off circulation to like extremities, a basement cell called the hole. It offered no light, no exercise, or toilet to the inmates that were sent there. But, pretty much everybody who has spent some form of time there has had paranormal experiences like shadow figures, the whales, cackling. Well, there's a word that needs to be said more. I love the word cackling.
That conjures up witch instantaneously.
Well, of course, but it's like, like I love cackling.
Right.
And faces appearing on cell walls. It's obviously probably one of the most famous videos or evidence out of there was when Taft was there and they had that black mass show up and shoot down the
Down
the cell
boardwalk or cage
yeah,
walk or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it's called, the thing. I mean, that's
Right.
phenomenal. I honestly wish we had today's cameras back then, because
Mhm.
you can imagine what that would look like in 4K.
Mhm.
You know, that sort of thing. I mean, it would have been amazing.
It was amazing because it came racing right at them and then just immediately, woof, just hauled ass back down that catwalk. If you've never seen the episode, watch the episode.
Yeah,
pretty damn solid piece of evidence, in my opinion.
They even tried to recreate it. It looked nothing like they couldn't
not even close.
You could so tell that there was somebody with like a cloak on and
right.
stuff like
it wasn't
that.
even it wasn't even in the zip code of what really happened. Yeah.
So that Eastern State, since the beginning of my career, probably before my career, has been on my bucket list. Will I be able to ever investigate it? I don't know.
I hope so.
I hope I do. I do.
I hope so.
It doesn't even have to be an event. I would just love to go and take the team and maybe a couple other people to bring down the price per person.
Right.
But definitely I would like to go out there and spend at least a night investigating that place. So we'll see if that ever happens.
Yeah.
But there's still plenty more prisons left to go.
There are. And I'm gonna go and one of those things, and I'm not even going to go to West Virginia. Although I could spend the whole show in West Virginia. Mike knows that.
I know.
And we talked about it ahead of time. Mike's like, don't go spend the whole show in West Virginia. I'm like, that's fine. So I'm going to go to Brushy Mount State Penitentiary in Tennessee.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Well, you know what? I really want to go there. And there's a lot of stuff that has happened there. And probably the most famous person who was there was James Earl Ray, who, God, I hope I don't have to explain this to people, but he is the one who murdered Martin Luther King Jr. And he was there for quite some time, actually. He actually once escaped from there for 58 hours with 6 other inmates. He was captured just 8.5 miles away. And he died in that prison at Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary. He died in that prison in 1998. So basically, life sentence. His ass wasn't going anywhere. And that's where he passed away. So it's rumored that he never left. Who knows, right? It could be anybody that could be there. The thing that always intrigued me about Brushing Mountain State Penitentiary is the fact that it was only a 3-sided penitentiary. And the fourth wall was the mountain. And there are documented incidences of the guards letting inmates try to escape up the mountain and then taking target practice, shooting them, killing them, shooting them off the wall. They fall down to their death. And then they would leave them sit there for weeks as a deterrent for other inmates who thought that was a potential escape route. That's heinous. I mean, that's some dark shit. That is some dark shit. Like if you were in prison today and you got, for some reason, there was a huge uprising and you got shot and somebody left your body sitting there for a week to make a statement, good God, the whole world would fucking explode. I mean, seriously, the whole world would just, it would cease to spin on its axle. The whole world would just explode and there'd be 9 million different viewpoints all being expressed on social media simultaneously. I totally don't agree with that being an okay thing. I'm not saying I do. That is not what I'm trying to convey here. I think it's barbaric that something like that happened, but it happened. So that's why I chose Brushing Mount State Penitentiary. It's open, although nobody ever responds And if they don't like me saying that live on air, then they should have responded. That's their tough shit. So, you can visit standard normal paranormal tour. Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary is priced at $480 for 6 persons max during the day. They also do tours. They didn't post on the site that I'm looking at right now what the tour costs, like to have a guide just walk you through the prison during the day costs. An overnight investigation that they have listed on this site is $1,500 with 12 people max, which is, to me, I would pay that. That's $125 a person. I'd be in that all day long. I want to point this out too. This is the only prison. Now, obviously, in prisons, people, whether it's through despair, whether it's through they regret of what they did that put them in prison, or whether it's just the brutality of the location they're at, it's notorious for people in prison to kill themselves. Hanging, cut their wrists. Hanging seems to be really popular. But this is the only time of any prison I've ever heard that a prisoner at Brushing Mountain was chopped up so finely that they were able to flush him down the toilet. So it's got that going for it. That level of violence. I mean, we know the stories of what happened in West Virginia, but to chop up a human body so you could flush it down the toilet, takes dedication, and not in a good way.
That makes Dexter jealous.
That just got so many things wrong with it for so many reasons.
So, just really quick before we leave Brushy. So the regular tours, I did find on their website how much. So there's self-guided tours, which is $20 per person plus tax, $15 for a child plus tax. And then you can get privately guided group tours for $30 a person plus tax, and then $20 for a child.
Don't take your kids, please.
Oh yeah, admission for children 6 and under is free.
Please don't take your kids to a prison where there was a shitload of violence and hate and anger. God.
It's history, Dave. It's history. They see worse than that.
I'm not gonna comment.
I agree. Don't bring your kids.
Don't bring your kids, please.
Yeah, don't bring your kids. There is something that I've seen twice now, and I'd never heard of this prison. I've seen it on 2 different websites now. Actually 2. I'm kind of going to mention both of them because one is just south of us, in good old Iowa, and the other one's in Wyoming. Like, I've never heard of Wyoming Territorial Prison as being like a hugely haunted place. I've never even heard of named at all, let alone, as a haunted prison.
Gotcha.
But apparently Butch Cassidy was incarcerated there for 2 years from 1894 to 1896. It housed well over 1,000 inmates during its operation. Julius Greenwald, I don't know who that is. Maybe I'm just who used to make and sell cigars.
Yeah.
Oh, he used to make and sell cigars while serving time for the murder of his wife. Wonderful.
Which he murdered his wife in 1897, which is why we might not know that, because that is totally out of our, you know what I mean? That's not in our lifetime of history.
Yeah. But people report smelling cigars in the facility.
In that location, yep.
Here's what's surprising to me. It was built in 1893, but shut down in 1903.
Yeah.
It's not a long, maybe that's why. I mean, it hasn't been a long, obviously, run prison. The other one, which I did not. I've never heard of, and apparently now it's on 2 different websites as being one of the most haunted jails. Is the Potawatomi County Jail in Council Bluffs, Iowa.
Yeah, the squirrel cage jail.
Oh, that is the squirrel cage jail. All right,
that's squirrel cage jail. Yep.
I've always known it as a squirrel cage. I've never heard it as the Potawatomi.
That could be the county it's in, or who knows? But that's what I know it as, is the squirrel cage.
Yeah. So one of the websites that I found it on has a photo of Ghost Adventures walking in. So I'm assuming that it's evil history is 80% made up. So
I think Taps has been there too. There's been other teams that have been to the squirrel cage.
Oh, sure. My team was going to go a while back and just never materialized.
I've been wanting to go there. I mean, it's close. You know what I mean? Like, there's some other haunted locations down in Iowa that you could hit and make a long weekend out of it, for sure. But I've been wanting to go there. I think it'd be. I'm more of the history of the place. Like, it's one of the only squirrel. I think there's only a handful of like that prison design. Why don't you go ahead and explain that? Like, what are we talking about with squirrel cage jails? What does that mean?
I have no flipping idea.
You don't know what that means?
I don't know what that means.
And they're going to throw the ball back to you, and you're like, what? What are you doing to me? So basically, you walk.
Make sure I'm ready to catch it, Dave.
Well, I can't help it if you're not. You're supposed to do your research, Mike. So you walk in, you leave the corridor, you walk in, there's metal bars, it spins, you walk into the opening, the door closes, it spins again, and it goes up and down like an elevator, but it only opens to your particular cell based on what button they push. So it's a circular cage that you're in while you're being transported up the floors to your particular cell. And then there were 6 cells per floor, but the door only opened to your cell. So like, you couldn't go to another person's cell ever. And so you get out of the elevator, kind of an elevator, and you walk into your cell, and then the door closes, locks, spins, and now you're contained basically in a circular prison cell, is what it is. Very, very, very unique design. Very limited, unique design. Like there's only maybe a half a dozen prisons that have that design of the squirrel cage. And the fact that this one still exists is what makes it so popular, I think. I think it's a combination of potential haunt, even though I'm not sure there were any heinous criminals in Potawatomi County, Iowa. There could have been. I guess I'm not, maybe, right? Maybe. I just think that, to me, would be more of this is a really cool piece of history type of thing for me. I don't think I would go there. And if I had a paranormal experience, great. And if I didn't, I think I would just enjoy being there just because of the design of the prison and the fact that it's still there, which is cool. And it's a museum now. Mm-hmm. So I don't even know if the general public can investigate it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they can.
Oh, they can? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It says, I'm looking at it here. It says there's also been a little girl in gray inside a cell, and 2 ghostly cats roaming the jail. So obviously we know that there's no girl there, and the 2 ghostly cats, Mike would love that. So that's a reason for the 2 of us to go in a heartbeat right there. Yeah. How much did you see how much it was?
I'll just bring a blessed cross.
There you go. And I have mine. It'll always be with me. So.
No, I don't have.
Okay. Overnight paranormal investigations are also available. Oh, my bad. Priced at $140 for 4 hours, $210 for 8 hours, and $280 for 12 hours, up to 6 people. So
only 6 people. That's really
everybody seems to be all hipped on 6 people. I don't know why.
Well,
You know?
not well,
Or like 10.
like
Which
10.
10 I get 10, right? Because then it could be like your team and one or two other people. But 6 people is like, yeah, it's still a good price though.
6 people is my team.
Yeah, right. But what I'm saying is that's still a good price. $280 for 12 hours. That's dirt cheap in the paranormal investigation community. So that's like you show up at like 6 p.m. set up, and then you're there till 6 a.m. for what? Not even $50 a person? That's dirt cheap. I don't think the place is haunted. I think it'd be more of a historical tour.
Really? You don't think that it's haunted, huh?
I don't know. My gut tells me it's not. My gut tells me it's more of a, would just be cool to see the unique design, you know, of that type of prison that never took off. So,
well, they're claiming that it's the world's only 3-story rotary jail,
which I believe that. I believe it is. That's why I said it's the uniqueness of the jail, which is why I would go. But I don't think you're going to have anywhere near the experience that we had at West Virginia. Or I've been to Joliet, and Joliet was extremely active, you know. And I've been to Lake County Jail in Crown Point, Indiana, where a friend of ours that we met many years ago on an event that Chad did down in Iowa.
Shannon.
Shannon. Yeah. That she lives up in that area, and she has had great experiences there and shared those great experiences and stuff like that. So I've been to that prison myself, and I've had experiences there a long time ago when I lived in Indiana. That was a long time ago. So, you know, that's also kind of a great historic place to go, and it's somewhat active. It depends. I think that you need to bring the energy in to create the energy in that location. The thing that's nice about that though is it's only like $10 to go do the tour, like the walkthrough tour, which I think that's great. John Dillinger was there, so that's kind of cool. I guess if you're looking for, you know, famous people that were there type of thing. So Dillinger was there. It's cheap. It's a cheap place to go rent if you want to do a paranormal investigation. It doesn't have a squirrel cage, but it's still, you know, it's still kind of cool.
Yeah. And I do believe we're not still talking about Squirrel Cage Jail, are we?
No.
Joliet? Or no, the lake.
We could do Joliet. Joliet, phenomenally haunted location, very gothic, same type of theme that was going on with those gothic prisons with the gargoyles. Just imposing as hell. You know, that was the whole point. Like when part of the history of West Virginia was, and Joliet, if you ever do the walkthrough, was that they built the structure so that if you were a prisoner coming into the structure, that you were basically shitting your pants in the vehicle before you ever even got inside. That was the whole point. Like building the structure to be so intimidating, so imposing that you wished you had never, ever taken a life of crime. And that's, if you look at some of that architecture, man, they hit it. I think they hit it spot on.
I do want to go to Joliet. I want to
investigate
Joliet, but it's so expensive.
Yeah,
it's a lot. Like I think it's more than Waverly.
That's not okay.
that it's more than Waverly.
Well, Waverly's expensive as the only reason that, you know, I don't know. I got mixed feelings on Waverly. If I went there, would I have a paranormal experience? Absolutely. Is it worth $5,000 to go there? No.
It's
because
not.
because I'm not searching for that anymore in my life. I don't need to have a paranormal experience. I understand the paranormal exists. I'm well beyond those answers, as an individual. So can I and I don't make a lot of money as a human being. So can I justify spending $5,000 or $8,000 to go to an old tuberculosis hospital that's haunted? I don't know. No. Honestly, no. I couldn't.
Well, in Waverly's defense, it's not $5,000 to investigate it.
How much is it?
I think it's 1,000.
Oh, it's more than that.
No, I think it's 1,000. If you do it like Sunday through Thursday, and then I think like on weekends, it might go up to 1,500.
So you're saying Brushing Mountain is more expensive than Waverly, because Brushing Mountain is 1,500.
Yeah. Apparently.
Well, no wonder we never went there.
All
right, yeah. I'll spend 1,000 to go to Waverly with 10 people. That's $100 a pop. I'll do that. But I'm not going to spend. I thought it was more. I thought it was substantially more than that.
I don't think so. I mean, the last time I was on Waverly's website.
Well, there's been a lot of controversy going on with Waverly recently, anyway. So.
Yes, indeed.
All right. So while you're looking that up, I'm going to jump in here for a really quick segue because I think it's hilarious. Ohio State Penitentiary in Columbus, Ohio. The Ohio Penitentiary saw its fair share of deaths since it opened in 1834. Although it was condemned by those who reformed, it remained open until 1979. Now, this is the beauty part about this, and this is your 30-second segue. The building itself has been taken down, and they built a arena district, Burnham Square condominiums, McPherson Commons office space, and several other office buildings and parking garages that now stand on the site. Here's the beauty about this place, and I don't mean beauty in a great way here. I'm not trying to be sarcastic, but here's what really caught my eye. Many people who were in this prison died from the cholera outbreak, fire, execution by electric chair, and murder while it was in operation. In 1930, there was a fire at this prison. In one night, killed 322 inmates.
Whew.
322 inmates in one night died in a massive fire at that prison. They knocked the walls down. They cleared the space. They built a bunch of condominiums. I would love to see the amount of paranormal activity that is happening at those condominiums and those businesses, because those guys that died, those 322 souls that died in that fire, let alone all the other murders, suicides, executions, and cholera and other disease outbreaks, I would love to see the amount of paranormal activity that's going on that footprint of that property. I bet it's amazing. I bet people are like, yeah, why the hell did we buy here? It's kind of like what they did in Stillwater. Because you remember when the old Stillwater block got torn down because it was riverfront, and it was so that real estate was worth so much damn money,
I was
right,
mad.
That they tore the old prison down and they built those condominiums right on the same site, and it's the same thing. So, it's because the real estate is so valuable. Let's build these condos. Who cares what was here previously? Except for the people who lost their lives on that piece of land are still possibly there. Did you find what you were looking for?
Yes and no. So they do all of their like ticketing and stuff through Eventbrite.
Okay.
And they do a lot of public investigations.
Yeah.
Because that's where they make the most money.
Right.
What I saw from an 8-hour private investigation starts at $1,000.
Okay.
So
that's probably on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, like you said, not on a weekend.
Yeah, it wasn't specific. I think it's reservations is what they take using it. So I think you have to reserve a day if it's available, and then they're like, okay, well, this day, this is what the price is going to be.
Right.
If you want to, go on a Saturday or whatever.
Right.
So, yeah. But
which
still,
is again expensive. I mean, I would go if the price was right, just to say I've been there. That'd be the only reason I'd go. Honestly.
Yeah. So I think with the 5 minutes that we have left, we should probably talk about it's probably the most notorious and well-known prisons in the world.
Absolutely. Out on the island.
Yep. And that is Alcatraz. And I mean, pretty much, there's been tons and tons of documentaries and shows and people who they've even tried to reenact, that big escape that everybody did to see if they could have survived.
Right.
And, they actually had and I watched this, and he did it, but they had some long distance swimmer, come in, and he's been known to have swung
like the English Channel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But especially in like cold water.
Right.
And which obviously the San Francisco Bay is cold water.
Yeah.
And he made it. He got on the raft or whatever that they supposedly had. Yeah. And I think they tried to recreate it to the T, and he got as far as he could there, and then he got in the water and swam, and he made it.
Yep.
So I mean, it's possible, but then again, he's a professional. This is what he does. I mean, we're talking about 3 inmates who, probably were not in as good a shape as this guy was, and probably are not used to the cold waters like this guy was. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think they made it?
I think that Alcatraz, if you really look at the dark side of Alcatraz, I think Alcatraz is portrayed as someplace that wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? I think it was. I think Alcatraz was probably like Guantanamo Bay, to be honest with you. I think it probably was horrific to be there. So for the 3 guys in 1962 that made it out, supposedly, made it out, man, I hope they did. They were bank robbers. They weren't murderers. They didn't kill anybody, right? They were stealing money. It would be one of those moments. I think they came upon the moment in their existence where, as they were swimming, they were like, I've got 200 more yards to go, or I'm going to die right here, or I'm going to get caught and taken back to that location. And I think that if that were me, I think that would motivate me to suck it up and make that 200 more yards, honestly. Like, even if I wasn't that great a swimmer, even if it was cold water, I think if I had really bad experiences on the rock, I think that I would rather die trying to get away than to go back. So I think they might have made it. I think one of the 3 might have made it. I don't know that all 3 made it. Let's hope one of them made it, right? Because I remember that movie, like Clint Eastwood was in the movie, I think. For some reason he's popping into my mind that he was in like Escape from Alcatraz. But there was other renditions of that movie that were made with other people too. So, but I think one of the early ones was Clint Eastwood. But yeah, I hope the guy made it. He's a bank robber. Okay. I don't have disrespect for bank robbers. I don't know. I'm just saying, right? I have disrespect for people like that murder other people, harm children, stuff like that. If you feel like you're getting screwed by society and you want to go rob a bank, I don't know. As long as you're not killing anybody, I don't give a shit. I'm just saying that's not, it does. The physical harm to other human beings is what really pisses me off. Stealing money from the government when they're already insured, the bank's going to get repaid from the federal government. Who gives a shit? Go have a great life.
So, do you think though?
Yeah.
Because it has been, I don't want to say so much reported, but it has been said that Alcatraz really isn't all that haunted at all.
I've heard that also. I find it very interesting that in 1962 the three guys escaped, and in 1963 the prison shut down. Like who was in charge that said, "Oh my God, somebody might have made it off the rock. We should probably just shut the whole goddamn place down." Like I don't get that mentality. Really,
We've
like
exposed
exactly.
Down.
Like what? Why? Okay, so why are you closing this federal penitentiary that's inescapable? Because a couple of guys got lucky, or maybe they got lucky, right? They never found the bodies, but they also never caught the guys. Who knows? Who knows? It's deep water in that channel, and the currents are strong. So where if they drowned, where those bodies would have ended up, who the hell knows, right? They could have been crab food for months, laying on the bottom of San Francisco Bay, getting picked apart. And then if they did find something down the road, they would never ID them anyway. So who the hell knows? But do I think it's haunted? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. They held some really high profile people there, but they didn't die there. They weren't executed there. There were executions, I believe, but the high profile people were not executed there. So I don't know. I don't know that it's haunted. I think it's one of those historic sites. Would I go? Hell yeah. Including the ferry ride, it's like $20. It's cheap as hell for San Francisco. Like you can't get a hotel room in San Francisco for less than $500 a night. So if I happen to be in San Francisco and I'm not spending the night in San Francisco, I'm going to actually go someplace I can afford. Would I spend $20 to grab a ferry ride, go to the Rock, and get to walk around for an hour or two with a park ranger telling me all the great stories about the Rock? Hell yeah, I'm going for $20. That would be phenomenal. Do I think it's haunted? No. I wouldn't go as a paranormal investigator. I would just go as a fan just to see it. Just because it's such a popular place and such a phenomenal location, stuck out in the middle of nowhere like that, that they thought that was an impenetrable type of thing. I would go as a fan of the Rock and just go out there and check it out. Take a bunch of pictures, I'd have my recorder going with my little secret microphone, where I'm like asking people questions and they can't see my microphone. That would be happening. And I would have my, my nice Nikon digital camera with me that I would take, and I would take pictures just in case something showed up if I got lucky. But I don't think it's that haunted.
Time will tell. I'm sure sooner or later there's going to be some sort of.
Well, they don't allow us to go out there anyway to do paranormal investigations. So
no,
they let Ghost Adventures, I think, got to go out there overnight. But like for you and I, common layman, I don't believe they allow that. They have night tours. They have you can do a night tour, like not a daytime tour, a night tour, but I don't think you can investigate as a team. I don't think they allow that.
I think that they would, but you're going to have to pay through the teeth. I think that it's like a lot of money in order, because
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't spend money like that to do it, because I don't think it's that haunted.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much why you've only seen like one TV show go in there, because not only do you have to probably pay for the permits, to do all of it, but you have to pay for the security. You have to pay for the park rangers. You have, you have to pay for all of it.
Because isn't that Alcatraz, if I'm not mistaken, is part of like the park system in California, right? So it's not privately owned; it's owned by the state.
It's a federal property,
right? And the park division, right? Park and Recreations division or whatever, right? So you have to have those people on site. So you got to pay for their time, plus you got to pay, right? And you got to have a ferry to get out there, So you got to pay for the boat guy, So
you're talking 5,000 to 10,000 for one night of investigation. So
I'm not seeing that happening. I don't make enough money. So
no,
sorry.
No, none of us do.
I'm tapping out.
So, well, all right. That does it for us for this week. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode of the Odyssey Files. So tune in, and we'll see you then. And until that time, stay healthy, stay safe. Everybody have a great night.